is Gil. Something that I observed in my job is that, like, every single day, practically, they're hiring. They always have new hires. Every day they're hiring some new person. And it's usually in the other departments in my job. And it's all forklift drivers or pallet jack drivers or whatever. But the thing I observed is practically every single day they're always hiring somebody. And what's funny is like most of those new hires, I mean, I see them maybe for a couple of days and then they're gone. I mean, I don't see them anymore. I mean, most of these hires, I have not seen them. I have not seen them. Like all in the last several months or even a year. I mean, all the new hires, most of them, I can't even remember seeing them again. You know, yeah. I see them on the days, like, because it's always in the break room. You know, that I'm always observing it, because they have them wait in the break room, and I'm taking a break, and they hire new people every single day, practically. You know, like, so it makes me wonder, what are they doing wrong that's causing everybody to quit the job right away, like on the first day? But most of the time, it seems like people quit within the first week. In my job, a lot of people do that in my job. So I wonder what they're doing wrong. What would be something wrong? What is it that company would be doing wrong if they're always having somebody getting rehired, or if they're always having new hires every single day, practically? You know, like, well, I can tell you this much. I do know that I talked to some employees, or I talked to coworkers. And yeah, well, I know one coworker complained about how we call it, about not being paid what he feels that he's worth, because he was driving a high reach forklift truck, and then so yeah, and I do know that he was getting paid like $17.75 or something, and then he was complaining about that he was getting paid for the floor, what the floor people get paid, you know, like the people doing the boxes and stuff, stocking boxes or picking packers in my job. He was complaining that, you know, like he feels like he should have been getting paid more money than what he was getting paid to drive a high reach forklift, because it's supposed to be you get paid more money when you can drive a forklift, you know. But and then another guy told me one time, I was talking to him and as a coworker, like during breaks or something. He told me that, I mean, I know he was telling me that he left his other job because he didn't want to do physical work anymore, so he came in to just drive. So he did. He got a job, like, and I taught him all the things that he had to do. But then after a while, I mean, he was complaining about like doing like some things that he didn't want to do, because he was hired to drive, and that's what he said. That's what he was telling me. He was hired to drive, but nothing else. And he didn't want to be doing any physical work. And apparently, in my department, they ask us to do physical work a little bit here and there. And so the role, I mean, he was having an unexpected role, like the role that he was expecting to get is driving only, but they were asking him to do more than just that, and so he got burned out on that. So that was number 2 person. And then number 3 person was he was complaining about how the company was treating him, or he was complaining about like the company like being unfair and stuff, like, or it's kind of like it's to do like being overwhelmed, or like making them like work too many hours, or putting all this work load onto one person when it should be 2 people doing it, or that type of thing, like or he just didn't like how the company was treating him, and so that's why he quit like within a short time. But I think, you know, like, it boils down to that it seems like the company does have high expectations, you know. I feel like, anyway, or at least that's kind of basing on what I got the complaints from, you know, like Well, I mean, like I do know, I heard that some people feel like the company does have high expectations, like, and they expect them to be $1 million, like, or especially, what the big case of it is like the company, it's like if the company expects them to be like $1 million on the first day of work, and then I do know that I was getting complaints that about being overwhelmed there. Well, like, one of those things that I could say is like sometimes, like, the company is trying to put a lot of, like, get them to do a lot of things all at once when they barely started the job, and then, like, the company, it's like if the company, to me, it looks like if the company is trying to, like, expect them to be able to do everything on the first day, to be able to get it in their head on the things that they have to do. It's like if they think that they could get it on their head on the first day, but it overwhelms the workers. So I mean, so the workers can't take it. I mean, that's an example of how much stress people can take. Like, well, when you're brand new in a job, you really can't take that much stress on the first day because you don't know. You're new. So workers would like to slow down a bit. Would like the job to slow down a bit on their starting days, yeah. But it's not only my job that I seen this, and I've seen it in the years. I've seen it for years. I know that in my other job back with the one that I had for 20 years, I know people would leave right away. People would leave on the first few days. I mean, it was so common, very common, as common as it is in my job. It's very common in my job, and it seems like it's more of it these days in my job that I observed anyway. But I know, like, so many people, like, leave on the first day, or I know, like, it's not uncommon for people to leave the job on the first hour. I mean, like, they work in my job, well, like, not my job, well, probably do that in my job too, but back in my day when I worked in an optical laboratory, like, people had worked in my job for about a few hours, and then they left after lunch. I mean, it was very common. But I do know that one of those workers in that job, I overheard the lady back in my day. I mean, in my optical laboratory job, that she just couldn't take the stress because, like, all the things that they gave her to do, all the duties that they gave her all at once. Yeah, so, I mean, employees, I know it seems like employees, and probably even me too, I mean, I would probably say the same thing. They would like to slow down a bit, like, sometimes employees will get overwhelmed, like, if you're trying to put everything all at once. It's like your computer, like a computer, when you try to get it to do many tasks at once, the computer is gonna, like, just not gonna do it. And that's the same thing with an employee. Sometimes, I mean, it may be kind of easy for an employer or it may be easy to go ahead and throw in some duties because since you're so used to doing it, I mean, since you're used to multitasking, so to speak, you're thinking it should be easy for this guy, but you're forgetting that it's not the case. I mean, because the employee's new, so, I mean, that's one of those things. But I think the number one reason that the people are quitting on the first day or two in my job is because I feel like because they have too high of expectations, like, they expect too much out of a worker, and then they get overwhelmed when they expect a lot, when employers expect a lot. I mean, so I think all in all, I feel like it's all bad leadership. The place has bad leadership. I hate to say it, but I mean, like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell me that if the employees are quitting left and right, or employees are always leaving on the first day, there's something wrong. I mean, they're doing something wrong. I mean, something wrong that they're doing, like, so they have to evaluate. I mean, they got to evaluate, what they can do to stop that from happening all the time. But I do know that this happened. It has always been happening, everywhere. I mean, for the last several decades in my life, I've seen it all the time. People quitting on the first day or first week. So what is you guys' input? So what is you guys' number? What would you say is the number one reason why you guys, why people quit their jobs on the first day? I mean, in my job, it's common. First day, not the first week, but the first day. I mean, a lot of people quit on the first day. So what would you guys say? What would you guys say? What's the reason why? What's the most common reason for people quitting a job like on the first day? Because I do know, I was reading about it a little bit, and one of the bigger reasons for why people quit on the first day or a week or so. I mean, some of the first things that I read about was the fact that they weren't happy about being told to do something different than what they got hired for, and then that got them kind of disappointed, and they didn't want the job anymore because they're doing something different than what they said that they're being hired for. That was like one of the number one reasons. And the number two reason, bad leadership. You know, like the jobs or the managers or companies, like it's like they don't feel welcome, and that they don't put any effort to make them feel welcome, because they just think about either profit, or they think about like people who can do the job, and rather than welcoming the person, you know, like that's another reason too. I mean, like they feel like, what do you call that? Employees just don't feel welcome in the job, and then they don't feel comfortable, you know, like because like the manager or bosses or whatever, like they could be like they don't really connect very good. That's the other part of that reason, you know, they don't connect, they don't feel connected, so they're not going to feel comfortable, because it's something that the boss is doing wrong that's causing everybody to quit on the first day. I mean, there's got to be something wrong, you know. Bad leadership is probably number two reason, you know. So those are the two reasons that it kind of boils down to. I mean, but I know one of those things is high expectations. That's what I feel anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong. So what do you guys say about why this happens with some companies? What do you guys say about that? And if you had a job that you quit on the first day, what was your reason why you quit your job on the first day? Although for me, I never done that. I never actually done that. But it's kind of like more like the other way around. Bosses let me go on the first day or two because obviously they probably just didn't connect with me very well, or they probably just didn't like the way I talked or something, you know, because they're judging me. I mean, they're judging me. I know I had a few cases like that. I mean, where the boss lets me go on the first day, on the first few days, and I did my job and stuff. It was the opposite for me. But anyway, so what would you guys say? What does your friend say for why he quit his job on the first day of working there? And then of course, and then we get a lot of cases, you know, like my job, for an example, like people quit on the first week. We get so many, and then imagine all the time that they spent teaching the new person all the things, all the duties, and teaching them and how to even drive the forklift and all that stuff. All the time that they spent orientation and stuff, all the time they spent, only for them to quit on the first day. I mean, they're doing something wrong, man. So all right, well, I hope you liked this video. So all right, I'll see you on the next video. And the hurricane didn't hit over here anyway. I mean, I knew that was not gonna happen anyway. So this is on August 21st, 2023. So yeah, so anyway, so well, by the way, I've been in my job, the one that I'm talking about, where everybody's quitting on the first day, left and right, for the last year or so. I've been in my job for 4 years, so I've been good with I've been able to handle them, I guess. All right, I'll see you on the next video.